today to reaffirm a model that delivers, a model, as Robert has said, that raises wages, strengthens public services, expands freedoms, protects the vulnerable, and modernizes economies without leaving people behind. Wherever progressives are governing, people are living better, societies are more stable, and democracies are stronger. That is not a theory, it is measurable fact. So let me be clear. The crises of the past decade have shown that unregulated markets do not protect people, that nationalistic rhetoric does not create opportunities, that austerity does not build the future. Only social democracy has answers that work in real life for real people, and citizens across the world are rediscovering that truth. Everywhere you look, when progressives defend dignity, fairness, equality, people respond. They support it. They fight for it. Just look what happened in New York City with the victory of Mandami. He didn't win by lowering expectations. He won by raising them, by showing that bold people, central politics inspires and triumphs. His victory is not an exception. It is a sign of where the energy is today, with those who offer hope, not fear. My dear friends, history is not written. History is not programmed by algorithms. History belongs to people, and we are here to serve those very people. Our task is to empower their voice and fulfill their dreams and aspirations. We are the front runners of a new beginning. With us, here something is new emerging, bringing hope. And sooner than later, my dear friends, that hope will be a reality in many of your countries, regions, and continents. Let's work for that. Like it is already happening in Malta or Spain, where our governments are improving the lives of millions. Our mission is more important than ever, my dear friends. It's more important than ever at a time when the right is renouncing to many principles that vertebrate our societies. Until recently, we just disagreed with them on policies, on how to tackle challenges. Yet, we shared some basic common ground, our shared respect for democracy, for freedoms, for human rights, for science and truth. But now, that is gone. They naively believed that they could tame, rein, and control the far right. So they brought them into governments. And they normalized them. But they are the ones that ended up siloed. In the end, they have copied not only their ideas, but also their tactics and their full playbook. The traditional right abandoned its values so as not to lose votes to the extreme right. Now it will end up losing both values and votes. The others, the far right, seize power by riding the legitimate frustration of millions. But they will end up collapsing under the weight of their own contradictions. They call themselves patriots. Yet they sell out to multinational corporations. They call themselves liberals. Yet they dismantle the rules of international trade. They claim to govern for the people, yet they legislate for the elites. They're a walking contradiction, and their policies are a recipe for failure. Yesterday, it was Black Friday. Well, for conservatives, Black Friday is not just one day. It is a political method, a permanent state of mind. They live in a constant Black Friday. They liquidate principles. They discount convictions. and they put democracy up for sale just to cling to power. And what exactly do they put on their discount track or rack? Public services, 40% off. Women's rights, clearance sale. Social progress, drastically reduced. Freedoms that took generations to win, marked down until further notice. And the far right doesn't even need to govern. They can simply sit back and watch as mainstream conservatism sells its own soul piece by piece. So therefore, dear colleagues, we face many challenges ahead. And I want to refer to 4 of them in particular, where we cannot afford to take even a single step backward. First, of course, is climate change. Climate change. President Lula said it plainly during last COP30. The planet cannot sustain intensive fossil fuel use anymore. The climate crisis is already here in the form of extreme heat, wildfires, floods, and hurricanes. My country, Spain, has been severely hit by these extreme weather events during the past year. Supporters of chaos have a short-term myopic view. They say, let's reel, let's profit. We won't be around when the real consequences arrive. But we won't accept that logic because we care, my dear friends, and because the clock is ticking, so we need to act fast, and we will. Second, tackling rising inequality. Economic inequality has grown dramatically. The gap between the poorest and the ultra-rich keeps widening. The pandemic, military and trade conflicts, and inflation have all contributed to making daily life harder for everyone, especially for the middle class. And technology is deepening a winner-takes-all model. The belief that the powerful set the rules and everyone else must adapt is a new version of social Darwinism. But we do not accept that. I'll say it again. We care. We care about the here and now. Our duty is to address the everyday challenges people face. Fighting inequality is not a technical debate. For us, as Social Democrats, it is a moral duty at the core of social justice and democratic survival. So, second, inequality. Third, advancing equality between men and women. You know that across the world there is a dangerous movement trying to roll back that women have earned through decades of a struggle. So let me be absolutely clear. As Socialist International, we are a feminist organization and we will not allow this rollback. And fourth, a final challenge, upholding peace. Upholding peace. Conflicts are at the highest level since World War II. And they are joined by a new set of challenges. Hybrid threats, cyber attacks, the weaponization of AI, you name them. Against them, I believe our response must always be rooted in dialogue and diplomacy. But what are we leaving behind if our legacy is building up our militaries, tearing apart international law and preparing for a major war that risks becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy? To this dystopic future, I say no, not to war, and a big yes to peace, international understanding, international law, and multilateral cooperation. Everywhere, with the same values and principles, with the same consistency and moral integrity. Together with our member parties in Israel and Palestine, we are committed to achieving a just and workable solution that includes Palestinians at every step of the negotiations and strengthens Israel's progressive movement. 2 states, 1 peace. This is what we stand for here at this SI. We also stand with Ukraine, a country that has endured almost 4 years of the terrible war of aggression and fights bravely for its freedom and survival. A just and lasting peace needs to provide security guarantees and territorial integrity to our Ukrainian brothers, and it can only be achieved with them and Europe at the table. And of course, we stand with our African members facing proxy wars and jihadist attacks, as well as our comrades in Latin America and Asia. So, my dear friends, let's be honest. We are living difficult times, wars, democratic backsliding, inequality, climate disasters, technology disruptions, but difficulty should not lead us to despair. No matter how dark the winter, spring always follows. And spring has our name, the name of socialism. Because the question is no longer whether we should go left. The real question is, how can the world afford not to? So wanting decent wages is not radical. Cutting them is radical. Ensuring everyone has a home is not extremism. Allowing homelessness in cities filled with empty apartments is radical. Protecting rights is not going too far. Trying to take those rights away is what goes too far. The left is not the fringe. The left is the compass. We are the compass. We are the only compass still pointing to a north of dignity, equality, and justice. But to defend our values on a global scale, we must strengthen our international, let's say, cooperation. And that's what we are doing here. We are modernizing, growing, changing the political culture of the Socialist International. We are building networks, regional, local, sectoral networks. We created the Global Progressive Foundation to connect with civil society, academia, intellectuals, and social partners. A few weeks ago in Madrid, we held a workshop on communication and strategy. Here in Malta, our Mediterranean Committee held its first in-person meeting with a powerful workshop on migration. And in 2026, we will further mobilize the progressive family, bringing its different members closer and more united. That is my firm commitment and pledge to you, because together we win. We win not only elections, but also the future we want for our children and grandchildren. Before I finish, my dear friends, I want to send 2 warm messages of support. To our friends of the CHP in Turkey, congratulations on tomorrow's Congress. We wish you a hopeful and successful gathering. And to our comrades in Chile, who soon face elections, you are not alone. Across continents, your progressive family is with you. Cheering for you, believing in you, and trusting that your message will prevail. So thank you, and let's have a great council.
So now we are going to proceed to present the awards.